So hey, I'm Fox, and this is my video blog, and if you've been watching my video blog before, then you already know this. But in case you haven't, I'm a henchman for Dr. Apogee. I don't want to make myself sound more important than I am. Dr. Apogee has a lot of henchmen. I don't know exactly how many. Someone from HR would probably know. If you were watching my video blog last week, then you saw my supervisor, Clutch. Not that I was planning to have you see her. She just kind of walked by, and it was sort of a close call. But in the long run, maybe it's for the best, because you got to see another of Dr. Apogee's employees. I guess it might be kind of boring just having me sitting here in the corridor talking every week, and of course there are other henchmen. Well, obviously Clutch is a woman, but female henchmen are usually still called henchmen, just because there really isn't another word for them. I mean, instead of fireman, you can say firefighter. Instead of policeman, you can say police officer, but there really isn't a gender-neutral word for henchman that's caught on. I guess you could say hench people, but I don't think anyone really does. And it does sound kind of weird and awkward, so I guess I can see why. And I've heard the word hench worker proposed, but I don't think I've heard anyone seriously use it. Honestly, in a lot of ways, the henchman profession is very traditionalist. It doesn't change very fast. Things are improving, though. I mean, there are more female henchmen than there used to be. Used to be almost all henchmen were men. Well, there were some employers who hired female henchmen, but usually mostly as, eye candy. If you really look at the history, though, even back then, a lot of those henchmen who seemed like eye candy were a lot more competent than you'd think. And then there were some women who dressed as men to get henchman jobs, which is one of several things that henchmen have in common with pirates. The truth is, there's still ways to go, but there's a lot more equality in the henchman profession than there used to be. I mean, Clutch isn't the only female henchman in the squad. There's one, for example, named Magma, who I kind of have a crush on. Well, crush is probably the wrong word. I mean, I think of a crush as something that high school students have, and I'm obviously a lot older than a high school student. I'm even older than most of the people who play high school students on TV. But anyway, I admit I was really worried when Clutch came by, but I haven't heard anything about it since, so I guess she was satisfied with my explanation of what I was doing here, or my complete lack of an explanation. I did try to think of ways I could make sure that didn't happen again. Like, I thought of rigging a tripwire at the end of the corridor and hooking it up to some bells hung on the wall behind me, so if someone came into the corridor, they'd trip the wire and the bells would ring, and I'd hear it, but then I realized that was a really stupid idea. I mean, I'm not sure I could rig something like that so it would work. And even if I did, and it did work, if someone saw the wire or heard the bells, then they'd get suspicious, and I don't need to explain why it's a stupid idea. It's obvious it's a stupid idea. The truth is, though, Clutch's coming by was probably just a fluke. I mean, this corridor really is out of the way. People come here very rarely, so chances are pretty good that's not going to happen again. So with that in mind, I will see you next week. I don't know why I said with that in mind. You don't need to keep that in mind.